So I thought they were really. No,
I like when you start using they call it
You were your best all the time. He should say.
You don't want to get run over.
Actually, Peter Trapper, right, just e-bike, the milk on those. Yeah, I used to go on those with it, and I think that he has his stuff over on his e-bike, and he's riding all over.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
If you're on the bike, you need to be safe.
He said he loves his e-bike, he said, it's a shot.
Yep.
All right, we got 6 o'clock. I get this to work. Okay, I can call this meeting over. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? I so move. Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, let's say pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So we have public comment, If there's no public comment, then JD can come on up.
Good evening, it's JD King, Page County Engineer. It's a good day in Page County. It's good and hot.
It's not. Thick.
It was thick yesterday.
Yeah.
So we got blades out in the districts. You got 3 blades working on H Avenue. They should finish up rock on that tomorrow. And we've been hauling rock with 4 trucks and water truck and roller up there on H Avenue. Shaping that up. The spray patch crew been running up in the Nyman Road area. The pipe crews on 220th, the pipes are in the hole, they're backfilled partway. We'll put on the concrete on the toe walls later this week. And we're staffed such that we don't have any mowers running right now in the shop. Had a guy working on tires. They've been working on testing, or they've been installing conveyor belt attachments to a couple of our trucks. We tried one of those out on J64 on the holes at the end of the bridge there on the middle tark. And then I was looking at the other bridges and there's still a hole down on the west bridge, not the one at Northborough, but the one west of Northborough. there's still some work to do that on that. More greater bids are out to the vendors. We'll be getting those back and in front of the board in the second week in August. Construction. We're still working on bridges, waiting impatiently on the dirt crew on 280th. And the guys up at Essex are starting to place steel. They've been putting steel in the diaphragm and it's about to go on the deck. So there's some progress there, not quite what we're looking for, but we're all making progress, and we have project development underway on a couple FM job for Grant resurfacing and J55 base stabilization seal coat, and that's on the agenda also. So I'll come back to that asterisk part of the engineer's update. J Road was scheduled to come in this week, but the JB Holland got hung up with some equipment issues in Fremont County. And they called me today. They'll be there Monday, the 31st of June, July 31st, Monday, to start on the west end of 100th Street there by US 71 and go east and then south. So I'll elaborate on the news release tomorrow morning for the weekend, but the road will be closed to through traffic. We'll provide ways in for people to live along it, just like we have before. They'll have to work around it a little bit while they're doing the base stabilization part. And then before the seal coat goes on, there's a prime coat where they put on oil and then don't drive on that oil while it's fresh. Then, they'll do that overnight. They'll do it in the afternoon till the next morning. And local residents need to stay off that prime surface. And I'm investigating some safety money for the issues with corner guardrail were brought up a couple of weeks ago. Have any questions for the update? And then we'll go to the agenda item.
On the road grader bid, I had a guy call me on the graders. Is the Deere grader a lot bigger grader than the Cat grader they're bidding? Is it apples to apples? Is the Cat grader a smaller grader?
The Cat grader that we have now is of the same weight as the Deere, but the horsepower is less.
Is it the same?
So-
Is it comparable? Or is it a different
It's,
level?
yeah, no. I mean, the weights are the same. The Cats are heavier weighted, but there is 20 horsepower difference between the 772 and the current 140s. Now, the old 140s, so the equivalent horsepower to a 772 is a 150 Cat. So actually, I've asked them to
Bid that too.
both 672, 772, 140 and 150.
Okay, good. I think that's
So we'll see
what their price is.
where the prices are.
Okay.
Okay, if you could turn next to the resolution that was sent out in the email. This is in keeping with the board's sentiment or intention to speed up work on J55 as we can, given that the J Road project came in significantly less than the estimate, so that frees up some money. We are able to move J55 base stabilization and seal coat from fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 24. So we'll let it this fiscal year. So that's the resolution here in front of you. So I need a motion to approve this.
I'll move that. Motion be approved.
I've got a motion to approve that resolution. A second.
Second.
Okay. Discussion on that. We'll build on, like I said, it jumps it up a year. That's good. So you got down here in December, you'll let it and they'll do the project next summer, be the correct time.
Correct.
Okay. You got any thoughts on that? All right. Well, yeah, you bet. Yeah,
Yes,
Yes.
okay, thank you, Eddie. I'll sign this, is this the right one?
Right here.
There. Okay. Next up, we have on the agenda is the courthouse window issue. This we're gonna talk to, there's somebody online to talk to.
James is online.
Okay, James, there you go. Can you hear us, James? You have to unmute.
James, are you there?
It shows that it's muted. I don't know if you. Or do we have a muted?
I don't know.
Unmute.
You have to do something up about it.
I'll send him a message.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, you got me?
Yes, we can hear you clear.
Okay.
Can you just talk us
There-
through, James, please?
Okay, we have an issue on the, first floor windows and the second floor windows. Both being, strictly cosmetic. As the architect had drawn out, there is a band, a masonry band. Approximately 2/3 of the way up the windows. The original plans had been to design the windows that band, the masonry band would match a band in the windows. There was a error in that measurement or the reading of that measurement, and that band got put off approximately 4 inches. So I guess the issue is whether it's strictly cosmetic, nothing structural, nothing like that. Whether you want to proceed as they are, which I don't know what I have, 10, 12 approximately installed this way before we caught it. We could proceed as we are doing, and there would be some type of reimbursement from Pella. I know they're working on that number. I don't, at last I talked to them this afternoon. As far as I knew, they didn't have that number yet. They were working on it. Or the other option would be to get new windows coming. I believe the first floor would be one of the floors was 3 weeks lead time, and the other floor was 8-week lead time.
My feeling, James, is that they look beautiful on the outside. I don't think the normal person can see that there's a difference. And my vote would be to go with what has already been installed, because it's been a headache for you and the people in the offices if you would have to go back and take them out and reinstall them, plus a delay in the process for you and for everyone here. So I think they look great myself.
No, I think we need to know a number, to know how much they're willing to, knock off. Would be nice to know the number. Cause they do look good in there, but they're off, they're not right, so.
But I don't think we want to wait 3 to 8 weeks. It took longer to begin with than they said. And so it could be longer than 3 to 8 weeks.
Right. It'd be quite an expense for them to remake the windows and all that. They might
Right.
have a pretty nice number. I'd like to know what that number is.
I just would like to know the number. I understand the issues with waiting, but sure like to know the number. Do you think they'd have that number in the next few days? We could have a special meeting or something by Zoom if we need to do, or
Do you have any idea, James, on that?
I personally do not. I know as of, and I last spoke to them at 2 o'clock this afternoon. They were working on that with corporate.
Okay. But it's gonna be time and expense for them to take the windows out and put them back in. And the same thing for Pella to remake them. So
yeah, we.
my feeling would be to go with it, and whatever we get, we get.
Well, I'd like to negotiate, I think we'd be a pretty fair amount, we might get off the windows maybe, but we need to know a number, so. Who has contact with whoever is making that decision?
James,
So I guess as soon as, I mean, my feelings are, as soon as we know the number, if it's $5 a window. You know, I might think, let's get the right.
It would be that.
I know, I'm just saying, let's just see what.
They'll
it
make
is.
it right.
Yeah, so let's see what it is. I wanna know what the number is.
I guess I would trust Pella to just go ahead and say that they'll make it right. And that way we don't have to delay it anymore.
Yeah, I think if we're willing to,
I don't think you should probably say anything. Maybe with a conflict of interest since you work for Pella.
I'm not saying they're not gonna make it right, but in any deal, you know what the number is, so I just.
I know, but you can't dicker. I mean, you're looking at a longer time frame. You're looking at inconvenience, you're looking at remaking, you're looking at everything. It's just common sense to move ahead
No.
and say that they will reimburse us for whatever isn't right.
Well, I've been involved in several business deals and I like all the numbers on the table, so I want to know what the numbers are before we do that. This isn't a $500 window project, it's $700,000, so. We can make sure we have it right. I understand it's cosmetic. I just like to know what the number is, so, and then see where that is and then make a decision, so. As quick as I get the number, we can make a decision. That's all we're waiting on. That's where I'm at with it, so. I don't wanna go into something blind. I'm not saying it's not gonna be good, but we don't know what we're talking about. We don't have enough, so. So that's, as soon as we get a number, I'm willing to have a meeting that day if you want, or the next day, wherever we have to have 24 hours notice.
Is that okay with you, James?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so,
you'll just let us know as soon as you hear anything back.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
we can make a meeting as quick as that and not wait till Thursday, so we can talk to them. Just need 24 hours notice, so. Okay, that take care of that.
Thank you, James.
Thanks for calling in on vacation.
Thank you.
Make a note.
Okay. There we go. Next up, we have the solar ordinance, just starting this process. We had worked on this a year or two ago, it's been a while. I printed off a couple examples here, just someone to look at, there's tons of them, but there's just one. We had worked on this, I have a folder from the past. There was one even kind of made up, there's a Fremont County one you can print off too, and there's tons of them. I don't know what goes wrong with this thing. I don't know if it's me or somebody else.
No, it's you, I think.
I don't know what to do. So anyway, you kind of look at that one there you have. And, what's that? I got here too. Have you guys looked into these much? We've got a moratorium going. We've got to start the process. It's, just a quick flip through. We'll just start looking at, find your favorite ordinance, you know, look at them, see. This one just wanted to look at, they have a lot in this. Of course, there's setbacks, there's sound, if they make some
so
noise.
this is one that you guys,
This is
oh,
one,
this is not, this is from another county.
Madison County.
Madison
It's
County,
just
okay.
very in-depth,
Is this Madison County, Iowa or
Iowa.
Nebraska?
Iowa. So you can look at this, it's very in-depth, they passed it a year or two ago. Anyway, it's very in-depth. We have some others, Fremont County has one you can look at, our neighbor. They kind of drew one up in Page County too, kind of a rough draft. We had one, got it here. We kind of looked at, but it was under edit, so. We just need to get started. There's also our moratorium, I think, ends I think it's in August sometime, so we're gonna have to put that back on extended. But we need to get this done, so if somebody wants to do something, they know the rules they're going by, so I'd like to have it done in 60 days or something, you know, sometimes it's done in a couple months, where moratorium is not gonna be, is gonna run out, so. I got this, so we can start really looking at it and put it on there, kind of read through it. It's a lot of the same things that have been over, how deep they bury the power lines, that's one thing. Setbacks of property line. Of course, these aren't as tall, it isn't as the same, but they all have setbacks. Let's see what else is in here.
Does Mills County have one?
Yeah, I think they did just make one. They've
This
got
would
one.
probably be the most recent because I know they were talking about a
Mills
project.
has one, you can print it off. Kind of print a couple, I just printed this one, there's a bunch of them. I kind of look at them, they're all be similar, and just different setbacks and different heights of of how high you allow them to be. Of course, it has decommissioning in a year, I think it was a year ago, but Isaac up there, I sat by a supervisor from another county, I can't remember, the northern Iowa, I think. He was very concerned about the decommissioning, because it cost a fortune to decommission those,
Yeah, in some regards, they're more toxic than
yeah, the actual screens.
stuff, yeah, so.
Just making sure we don't get hung with that, and there's a bunch of stuff about decommissioning in this one. So same thing, I know Fremont County has one, I think Mills County does, a lot of counties around us have it. We were working on one, and then it never got, we just kind of stalled out on, it. So. I think at that point, we might have put a moratorium, I don't remember, or no, we did that at the beginning of this year. So that's, I'm just trying to open this up, we need to extend our moratorium, we need to get serious about getting this done. And having a hearing on it, so. Just want to start the discussion. Good. I don't know what else to say about it. Print off Mills, Fremont, whatever else you want. Lay them out side by side. I've got a whole bunch of them written all over from the last, when we did this
Do
here.
we want to follow the same map that we did for the wind ordinance?
Yeah, just,
And look at certain things each week, or do you want to?
yeah, or we could just
do that?
go, well, most of them all start about the same. We can do that. Just go the first few pages even, but I guess people will know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
Let's see. The general areas, I guess some of the biggest areas right off the bat would be just your setbacks, of course. It's a big one. We could talk about that first of all, feeder line depth. A lot of these ordinances I've read have them plant trees around them, so they don't, it helps block noise and vision with neighbors and stuff. There's things like that.
right, okay. Well, why don't we I would just maybe take a week or so and
What do you want to read through?
just kind of start reviewing through some. I think it's me.
You wanna look at it, Brian?
Yeah.
There, good.
Maybe in a minute. Turn mine off. Just turn it off altogether. I'm muted. Is everybody muted on their computer? Turn it back on. Are you off now too?
Are you on?
Okay, now,
Okay.
maybe it's me.
I don't know.
Anyway, so what I was gonna say was that, take a few weeks or a week or so or whatever to start reviewing, looking up, and then come back and
Yeah,
say, what do we want to tackle first, or what's
that's fine. Let's
what's
do
the
that.
biggest thing? And maybe there's a lot of stuff that you can cut and paste that we don't have to really rehash or
Right,
reinvent the wheel. You know, and there's probably a lot less maybe differences through the different ordinances versus wind or something like that, because there's probably not as much to think about with solar, but
Yeah, you'll have your setbacks, your heights underneath and above.
I would just like to do some research.
Yeah.
before Start.
No,
trying to
that's
make
fine.
Decisions.
No, we can't make any tonight. It's just trying to get people thinking. So,
Yep.
so maybe go print some neighbors, go look around some issues and bring those back next week. And I probably will ask Carl, email him to put our moratorium back on the resolution back on there to extend it a little bit. But we need to get on this. We'll get this done and then we can do it in the wind.
Okay.
Similar time frame, get them all done. And if somebody wants to do something, they'll know the rules that we have in place. So,
I would say we wait till closer to the end of the moratorium before we put it on.
I think it's only
Like, yeah.
a couple weeks away.
Well, we might look at it and see.
Yeah, it's in August, I think. So
See
we
if
need
can
to
get this done.
make sure it's right, but we have to have hearings and hearings take, I think you have to wait, you have to have like 3 hearings.
But you can always extend your moratorium and then keep working on the ordinance.
Yeah, and the moratorium can be ended at any moment. You know, you can cut it off the second we get going. So I'm just trying to make sure we don't have an error in our time frame. So, anyway,
So it might be best for next week to come with the date that moratorium is gonna
Yeah.
expire, so we know.
what we're working with.
And,
And I
yeah,
could even, we can have the
and if
date,
it's really close, then let's say
throw it on there.
we could just go ahead and extend it to.
And we can go ahead and talk about those next week too. Just go look up some other counties and
Okay,
we'll bring it all together and talk about it. People come in and talk about it, if they got some issues or thoughts. We'll get some numbers ironed out and get a rough draft. So there is one that was started in Page County a year ago, or whenever it was, maybe it's a year and a half ago. A rough draft here, all, anyway. So there's several to look at. You can ask for that, I'm sure. I don't know if I have that email form or not, but I'm sure you can get that. So that's just to start the talking. We need to get this something rolling here. But anyway, let's see, where's my,
I
do
think Brad
we have a
had a question.
comment on this?
Hi, Brad Richards. Are you guys aware that the legislature has proposed 2 bills to control solar? And I would ask you guys, instead of maybe starting to work on and hitting your head against the wall, much like the gas line that the court said stop, why not just put a moratorium on it and see what the state is gonna do? Because they're talking much of the same thing, setbacks, acreage, how far that acreage is, what the limit is, elevation, plants, because there's a certain plant that has to go underneath it to allow for growth, but not to overgrow the solar panels. I mean, they're doing a lot of the work you guys are talking about doing right now. Why not let them do the work? You guys just put a moratorium on it instead of having to be told that you can't supersede the state again. That's all I'm asking. Just put a moratorium on it and let them do the work that they've already started. So.
good, thank you.
All right.
That'd be a good idea.
The carbon issue, carbon pipeline issue, it was a question whether or not a county could make an ordinance because it was possibly outside of our local rule or whatever. But with wind and solar, it is inside of it right now, unless they change that. So that's why most of our neighbors have these ordinances already in place, but we do need to extend it so we don't get caught in a lurch here anyways. So I have to look at that. Okay, so I know what we're doing there. We'll look into the dates, extending it, and if you guys want to look at things too for next week. The next up, if we're done there, we're good, is board communication. And I had a person call me from Summit Solutions, whatever the carbon people, they're having a safety meeting in Denison. And they sent us an email, I guess. I just was gonna remind her, but he wanted me to remind her that called me this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
It's on an email, but I think it's the beginning of August,
Yeah.
very soon, but. I don't have.
I was supposed to, meet with, Keely, can't remember, and the fire chief and EMA,
Oh, yeah,
but we have not been able to put every time we set a date, it's one of us that can't make it, usually me.
Mhm.
And so they finally are going to do it, but I'm not gonna be able to. So, they're gonna go ahead and do it, and then if I have any questions, I'm gonna go ahead and send them to her. I'll just
Mhm.
make an email of questions, and she said she'll answer them, but, yeah, so I think that's happening on August 4th. And I'm leaving on vacation August 3rd. And I'll be here for the third meeting that morning, but then I'm leaving right afterwards. And so, and then the following week, I won't be able to Zoom or anything, if that's a problem.
Okay, that's when the greater bids are coming in,
The what?
the greater bids.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try to call. I may not have very good service, but I
Yeah.
can try. But
Okay.
just to give everybody a heads up.
Yep. Okay, what about the roof? Did those people that gave us a warranty on that roof ever do any?
No, I've got nothing.
Maybe we
They
can
don't
have,
have, the warranty's
Well, yeah.
expired. Yeah,
You're right.
It's expired.
Melissa did
Yeah.
tell me the warranty had expired, so that
Yes.
we don't have a warranty.
so
But I don't think they ever went back and looked
when
or
we
even
did,
called me again, so, granted, it hasn't rained hard for a while, so nobody's
Is
said
there-
anything,
is
but
there anybody in Shan that works on roofs?
yeah, there's a couple places over there I could call, and
I
it's
would
a
think,
it's a coating roof.
It-
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
one has to.
what I asked was Pella, our roof is coated places too, and we have people that we get out of, I believe, Omaha or somewhere, but I didn't know if I had the authority to do that without, having any,
It's a repair.
board
if the,
approval.
if
or
the
I could
warranty's
call-
up, you can call somebody and have them look at it.
Look at it.
Yeah, give us a
Right.
bid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
Yeah,
I
you
will,
can come look.
I'll make some calls tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I can send an email out to let you guys know what's going on with that. That's all right.
Yeah,
that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
okay.
Otherwise, I had no meetings.
I met with the people from the state. Well, the people that the state has hired yesterday, in the courtroom.
Oh, yeah.
You never answered that email. Todd answered that he couldn't be there, so I went.
Well, I saw you were gonna go, so that was fine.
Anyway, they're going to be making some changes. The state has, money that they can put in it from, I guess it's COVID money. And they've been going around and doing other counties. We're kind of in the last tier of what they're doing. The things that we have in the courtroom, the speakers, the microphones, the TVs are all pretty well outdated. The county attorney purchased those at one time with some forfeiture money that they had. So those will go back to them to do with whatever they want, but, talked about the county attorney was there, and talked about replacement and placement of things. And they're gonna have to run some conduit and do a few things. There'll be some cameras up in the courtroom. They're gonna put two, I believe it's 86-inch TVs. In there, the one that's in there now is a 70-inch, but they're gonna put one on the north wall and one on the west wall so that the jury and everybody will be able to see them. So it sounds like some really good, enhancements to the court system. Both Carl and Jim were there, so they had their input with the gentleman who was there. And then, the other thing was, I said, ever since we came back from the fire, the acoustics in the courtroom have been really terrible. They've complained about it forever. So I asked him about that, and there's some acoustical tile. It's a different type thing that has foam, and they have put it in several places. And he said, it's a wonderful thing. And I said, would the state pay for it? He said, well, no. But anyway, he's gonna get us a price on that. So that perhaps we could do something to enhance that. And I said, if that works, then maybe we can put some up here.
Right.
For the, sound here also. So he will be getting back to us on that, but it sounds like a really, really, really good thing. That we're gonna get in the courtroom. So that's good that the state's paying for it. The only thing we have to do is we have to do one electrical outlet.
One what?
one electrical outlet on the west wall. But that won't be a big thing.
Yep.
So. Anyway,
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? If we're done with that, we've got the minutes here. And. Back over here, to the end. And then now, Todd, look to the minute.
Yeah, I did,
Did you look at it?
yeah, I've got a copy. And,
All right,
yep.
see what you think, or hand you a copy for
Yeah.
me.
And so the one thing I have been looking at was on the public comment.
Mm-hmm,
I lined out most of that, but I did leave it where it talked about each person that spoke and what they spoke about. So the topic that they talked about, I didn't go into like all the details of what they talked about, but I left in, you know, what their main comment was about.
mm-hmm,
And took out all the rest, or, but at least everybody knows that Heidi talked and Brad talked and what they talked about in the minutes. And then I showed Kristen too, I had misspelling my name again, but that was just a copy and paste error, so not a big deal. Everything else was okay as far as I could tell.
yeah. All I did back in January, we just agreed to just make no public comment in the minutes because it's
Yeah, no,
but
that's,
so all I did was strike all the public comment. For the minutes, but whatever, you have a copy of what you did.
yeah, I have a copy of what I did. You guys can look at it or whatever. I didn't make copies for everybody. I just took my own personal, that's
Oh,
two pages.
you can have it.
We'll fix your spelling, you know, I missed it.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even get that.
I didn't
get my
fix it.
last name right.
I didn't get you anything, I missed it, it was right up at the top.
Yeah, I know, that's,
Well, that's all right, you can do that. I see what you did there. You want to make a motion on that? Just use these,
yeah.
make the motion on it if you want.
I'll make a motion that we pass the amended minutes for July 20th.
Okay, just set here, I have my hand that you just talked about, we'll talk then. Okay, I'll second that motion. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, or roll call, please. Yes,
No,
Yes.
here we go, this is the set right here.
May I ask a question?
Yeah,
Oh, yes, go ahead, Heidi.
Good evening, Heidi Carter, Clarinda. I'm a bit confused that we have a set of minutes that the auditor is taking or staff. And then you have amended minutes that you have just approved tonight. 10 years in the future, when I go back to the auditor's office and I said, I want to find out about this issue. Am I going to look at the auditor's minutes? Or am I looking at the amended minutes? Because in extension, we had a book, we had a formal book that you had to open and print them formally, and then they were signed so that in the future, I could go back and look what happened in 55, which was kind of neat. So I'm wondering, 10 years from now, I'm gonna go and ask, oh, great, I need to see the minutes from July 2023. I'll be handed a book, maybe, I don't know what it's gonna format, it's gonna be in 10 years. What will I be looking at?
well, since the beginning of time, it's been the board approved minutes. I don't know what it's gonna be right now. We're gonna go to the Attorney General. I'm being told that whatever the auditor puts down is the unofficial minutes or draft minutes, or I don't know. We have no idea where our minutes go. We vote on them. I really don't know. And
That's an
it's a good
honest answer.
question.
Well, that's an honest answer. I was just wondering, because if you have 2 tracks of minutes in the future for historical sake, we're just saying, oh, what happened here?
Yes.
That's odd, or I want to look up the history of your ordinances.
Right. Once minutes are approved, then that is the official record, and they're signed by the chair and I guess the auditor. So everything is really strange right now.
Okay, well, I just wanted to ask that question. Thank
So
you.
we're trying to figure that out. Okay. This, one other thing, and I said it last week, and I'll say it again. With our complaint with the IPIB, there was a story in the media that said it was not, the auditor's office released that it was not Page County's minutes that did not make code. Be very clear, you can call the director of the IPIB, it is Page County's minutes that did not meet Iowa code, the unapproved minutes that were used as evidence. So that story was incorrect, and you can call the director of the IPIB and ask for yourself if you want, that's just, information was not correct, so. Anyway, I guess, go ahead, yeah.
Again, let's go back to chapter 20 of the Iowa Code. The reason the minutes were not accurate or accepted, because there was no agenda. There was a failure for Page County to publish an agenda. So it doesn't matter if you did the minutes exactly as you wanted them. Without an agenda, they didn't meet code 21, which is what they said in the
Yeah, have you
decision.
read the complaint? Because it's,
Yes, I
we
did.
have two problems. We have that problem. And then we gave the minutes, which was listed in the minutes twice.
But they
and-
said the
and,
minutes didn't meet code 21
The minutes don't meet code. So there's two
because
problems.
there was no agenda.
Well,
You can't have minutes without an
Right,
agenda.
well, and that's gonna be up to the IBIP.
no, now let me.
Really, I mean,
clarify.
right? I mean, they're gonna make that call.
Right.
I'll clarify this. No, this is previous meetings, not the meeting we didn't have agenda for. We sent two previous meetings to them as evidence because we talked about having a meeting just to show what we did.
That's
And
not what
those-
they're talking about,
But that, what they were referring to was the joint meeting. And
right?
they said the minutes that Page County submitted for the joint meeting were not acceptable under code 21 or Iowa code 21
That's incorrect.
because there was no agenda.
I would recommend you call the director and ask her that specific
I don't
question.
need to.
It
go
says
anybody
it
out
right
there.
here. It says the minutes fail to show all requirements under Iowa Code
Go
21
ahead and
point
read the rest of
three.
it. What she said.
While the minutes are extensive in their documentation of public comments and discussion.
Was there, I'll pause right there. Was there any public comment in those minutes you're talking about? There was zero. We were on there for about 30 seconds. That's not, this is inaccurate. I would encourage anybody to email or call. It's the minutes from May 30th and June 8th that did not,
But the
as
referring
evidence.
to was the joint. So,
No.
and yes, I did read it.
That is what it is. You read what she says, extensive public comment. Well, we don't even have public comment that day. We were on there for a phone call for a few seconds. People are very mixed up about this and the minutes were sent out there and they did not, it even says what was wrong. There was not the motions and the votes that she said. So it was discovered as part of the investigation and then they brought that complaint. Oh, but that's what it is. And anybody's welcome to call the source and ask me or email me. So, and that would be the most transparent way to make sure this is known what happened. Anyway, and on our setup in here, I don't know, Corey's not here tonight. What is the plan here? We agreed last week, tried something different.
I
And then
told
I saw the chain of emails we had going on. We cannot respond to each other. We can see kind of the information going around, but we can't respond. So we talked about this 2 weeks in a row, and then Judy raised the question about being able to get up there. You didn't say that last week or the week before. I didn't know that'd be a problem. So
It is a problem.
if that's a problem, well,
And right now, the sound system is working fine.
But I don't think we were talking about the sound as far, I mean, we were at one time, but we were also talking about just being able to see people come in and we wanted to kind of move
was there.
over there so we could see everybody coming in and people didn't have to cross in front of us.
And
come in
the
behind
biggest
us.
issue, which we talked about 6 weeks ago, we talk about minutes all the time, and it's hard to, you can't see our faces when we're like this, can't see your face at all. When you were in the courtroom yesterday, the clerk always sits in front of the judge or the board or whatever, they don't sit behind you. That makes for very inefficient and not practical. I don't know anywhere that happens other than right here. So wherever we sit, I don't care if they do a wave platform, I don't care if we build a ramp, I don't care if we flip it over there. The board needs to be back, and whoever's taking notes needs to be to the side so they can see everybody. And we talked about that. We agreed on this. It's a trial. This was a really easy thing to try.
No,
We
it
did the
wasn't,
most-
it's not an easy thing. Corey told you, if Corey told you it was, it could be done. He didn't say it was easy. If you look under the podium up here, you're gonna see lots and lots of cables.
Yeah.
If you look under our desks, you see lots and lots of cables. You see
Okay.
all of this stuff that has to be moved.
Here's-
Why
Here's what we don't.
fix something that is not
I
broken?
think it is broken. We took a board consensus, we agreed to do it, and nothing happened.
That's
How
because
does
it's
that
not
work?
Corey's job
If
to
it-
begin with.
It's, then we'll hire somebody. If it's not his job, we'll consider his budget when it comes time for technology issues. Now.
And
if-
you're threatening
I'm
someone,
not
Jacob. You're
That's
threatening an
If
employee.
we have to hire somebody to do technology stuff and we have an IT guy, you have to think about the money you're spending.
You're talking about moving things. You're talking about moving desks. That's not Corey's
also-
job.
Read in there, I offered to come help, and I
Yeah.
think the janitor offered to come help, the maintenance guy, so they were just talking to him, this is really silly. We're just trying to
pretty
adjust
simple
some
stuff.
depth to try to make it better. Now, if the sheriff told a deputy to go do something and they did not do it, I mean, and they agreed, what do? You have, I don't understand how we can have agreement. We say, let's try it. He said he was good with it, and then nothing happens.
I told him not to do it because of
So you
the
can
questions,
overrule the
the
board.
questions that I raised about the handicapped accessibility.
We sat in 2 meetings and asked you what you thought.
No, you
and
didn't.
discussed
I
it.
mean, I didn't say anything
Well, why didn't you?
because I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. I thought maybe it wasn't gonna happen. But
So
the
because
handicapped
you-
accessibility is an issue.
Right, and we would, I think we
We
would
could
accommodate
accommodate
that,
that.
definitely. I don't think we would put something that you couldn't get up or you had trouble, because that's not right.
It's
So,
not,
Well, it's against the law, actually.
well, yeah, but so obviously we wouldn't do it.
so because you didn't think of something, you vetoed the board. You just vetoed us. Just said, well, because we said we would adjust it or fix it or whatever.
When did you say you'd fix it or adjust it?
At the end of the meeting, we said, this is easy, and if it doesn't work,
It's
let's try
not
something else.
easy. You think everything's easy.
So if your opinion, if you don't like something that we agree on, then you can veto that out of the sky outside the meeting.
I just told Corey because I had sent things out to you guys through the agenda email, through whatever it was that was out there, and nobody answered. So I just said,
Well, I don't
I wouldn't
think-
worry about it at
We're
this
not,
time.
okay, yeah, when we've talked about it, and I've talked to Corey about it, I personally, and he's informed me that it's not too big of a deal to move, just switch this around. Now, if we were gonna move over there, yeah, that's a lot more work, a lot more cables.
Right.
There's outlets, things that aren't gonna work. Here, it's not too bad. Everything is underneath the platforms, not a big deal. Nothing really has to change.
Right,
And
we agreed on it.
yeah, and it's not, it's just a change, it's just something different that we can try. It doesn't have to be a big fight, it
No.
doesn't have to be anything. It's just, hey, let's try this and see how it works.
Now, if you guys agreed on something and I called Corey and vetoed it outside the meeting and he didn't do it, I imagine that would cause an issue. I imagine that would upset you, I would imagine. I sure think.
I raised the issue of handicapped accessibility and I didn't figure you really wanted to move it until that issue was taken care of.
We had 2 meetings, we talked about it. And it's been talked about more than that, at the beginning of the year, we talked about it, 2 meetings. And we could have helped however to get it done. So it's just,
And
it's
we
just
still can
another
have a
issue.
plan to get that, to get it to work.
We had this happen a while
So-
back about, I put all the emails out, and plenty of time to try to call a meeting so we could look at our minutes before the 7-day deadline. So I emailed Corey, emailed the auditor, sent everything out way ahead of time. Nothing happens. Nothing happens to call a meeting. We can't. It's basically, when we discussed that later, the auditor said, well, I didn't like, we have an agenda basically, so we're not gonna do it. It's like, well, how does this work? How do we have a board if people single-handedly can just, we're not gonna do that. This is not right. We have elections, we have people sitting here, we have the board makes decisions, we can adjust things as we go, talk about it. We meet once a week. Everybody comes in here and we can talk about things. This is moving some desks. It shouldn't be this big a deal. But nothing happens. So if if we rig up something to get up there, you okay with that? If we
I
rig
don't
up
know,
the
it depends
ramp,
on what it is.
well, what does it need to be?
It depends on what it is, how it works.
So,
If
so,
it's safe,
say,
could you help us with that?
I suppose I could.
And
I don't see how you're gonna get are you gonna have the desks in a line like this again, so we can't see each other?
here's the thing.
No,
If
I'm
this-
asking a question,
I don't
Jacob.
know, I think they'll be pretty much in line. Now, here's the thing.
So you won't be able to see each other again.
I sat on this board for a couple of years with several decisions that were my favorite, that the board decided that's what we did. I don't know how one person can veto this. I don't understand. We'll make sure it's safe. I would like not to be, I don't care if we're elevated, but if the wires are the problem, we might have to be. I don't care if we go over there. I don't stay on the floor. I just want it to be set up where we can look at the clerk and they can look at our face and have the podium where they can look at the guy speaking. It's just to make a better meeting. This is not.
And we're looking at the person speaking right now.
Yeah, they can
We're
see
looking at
both
the
of us.
person.
The person taking the notes is looking at the backs of our heads, and in budget time, we spend a lot of time like this. Like this,
The
turning around.
problem that we spoke about earlier was that they couldn't understand what was being said down here. Now with the microphones, they can understand.
It is not, there is no boardroom or boardroom set up like this that I'm aware of. So it's not impractical to set this up differently at all. And again, we sit on this board, it's our board meeting, we made a decision to do this and you vetoed. So if we can find,
I just basically told them to wait.
and so here we go. So let's get something up here. I don't want you to have trouble getting up there. We'll rig up something to get you up there. I wish you'd have brought that up last week. So I'm sure, I guess you've got to decide what you think is safe to get up on there. You walk up there. And so, can you probably figure that out this week and we'll have it done for next week. We can vote for what to do. So can you get that to Corey so he has time to rig it up next week?
I'm not a handicap accessibility expert.
So it's the step that's the problem, taking a step?
The steps are the problem, Brad.
So we'll just have to have a ramp put in, or get rid of the platform.
Okay, once again, I don't know why you guys keep putting your heads against the wall and creating problems that don't need to be created, but according to ADA, has to be 1:12 ratio, no more than 8.33 slope, which means that ramp is gonna go out past that wall on both sides to make it safe. You're also gonna need a railing. You can't just rig something up. ADA requirements, I can't go up that. I have an ankle that was replaced. I can't walk up those steps without a railing.
Right,
I don't have the balance.
Does a railing do it? Hey, here's
you
this.
have to have a railing.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, you
there
have-
are ADA requirements that
Well,
you guys need to, and so instead of Jerry rigging something up quick.
Nobody said Jerry or quick, it's find what's
That's
needed.
exactly what you said.
You just said that.
Yeah, but I don't mean get in here with duct tape. I'm saying find what we need and put it over there along the wall. Or how about this? Let's flip the room. Leave the platform there. Let's flip the room. We can do that.
Or just leave it as it is, because it's working, gentlemen and ladies.
So if we flip the room, start looking at that option. If it's too expensive and too cumbersome to get up on there, I'm okay with flipping the room.
And that's gonna be a lot more difficult. A lot more difficult moving.
Well,
quickly.
then here's what we'll do. We'll put the clerk down here. That's what we'll do. Just forget that. Put the clerk right down here, move our desk back.
You're gonna put her out with the audience.
No, we'll move the tables and set the chairs up there. I mean, it needs to be set up like every board.
So her back is gonna be to the audience, which I never allow, I never did when I was in the other board.
We'll take her back.
Where are they in the courtroom? How's the courtroom set up?
They're not to the back.
Oh, well, they can be right here, just like they're part of the table.
No, they're facing the audience downstairs in the courtroom.
Well, let's go look at it. They are not behind the judge. I'm fairly.
They are facing the courtroom. They're facing the audience.
In front of the judge,
In front of the judge.
No, they're to
They're
the
not.
side.
to
Yeah,
the side of the judge.
so put the audience on one side, put them over here. It should not be behind us. It makes no sense. And again,
You know, it's funny, it's been this way ever since COVID and nobody's complained about it.
actually, we've talked about it quite a few times since COVID.
You
So-
have.
And then these desks got adjusted. These got moved.
They got moved so we could see each other.
Who decided that?
I suggested that,
And
didn't I, Todd?
and
Yeah,
we have to have act of Congress to get that done? No, you just,
Well, it was fairly simple to move the desk, Jacob,
I'm just saying that was,
down here.
we decided to do something and it didn't happen. And that would not work anywhere else. So.
Well, if you wanted to violate ADA, we could have done it, but I don't think you really wanted to do that, because I said I could.
And the other thing we could do is leave your desk down here. You want to stay down?
Yeah, you really want to do that. I'm sure you would like to do
I
that.
don't, I'm trying to put you up there. I mean, is that what you want? Would you like to be on the floor like that?
No, because I'm on the same level that you two
I
are.
agree. That's why I'm trying to put you up there or move back here. I'm just trying to accommodate you. So without spending lots of effort. So anyway, what are we gonna do with this?
I'd say you better think long and hard about it.
I think there's a compromise somewhere that can be made. I don't see what the big fight is about, but.
No,
Because obviously we would not do anything that would violate rules or
No.
handicap accessibility or anything like that, so. To suggest that would be
it's pretty insulting. We would not
right,
do
but,
something.
so. What we're just asking for is just a little insight into what would help. Make everything better. And that would meet your standards of approval. as
It's
far as-
not my
I mean,
standards.
not yours, but whatever would make it easier for you.
It's the ADA
I
standards.
get that, but what would make it easier for you to, I guess, be okay with the move? So,
All the cables, we could talk before, they all come out of that port right over there, the internet seat runs across the floor. That's just an idea we got, we could just flip over here and put the back to the wall, the clerk could sit over here with the back of the wall, and everybody could sit this way. Could do that, you can still see the screen then. Just an idea, because they come, he has to run the cables all the way across here. Then we don't even need the platform, we just stay there, it won't hurt anything. That's an idea, talk to him about that.
Idea.
yeah,
Okay, I'll talk to him about that tomorrow, see if that'll work. Cause then you wouldn't have to have the cables run all the way around, all the way, people wouldn't be walking across them. Hey, I can visit with him about that tomorrow. Is there anything else on this? Anything else? We can adjourn.
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Second on that? I'll second that. Adjourn. Or adjourn like that.
On the board, you have some computer off.
Everything's under.
Move these three guys.